The Detroit Lions suffered a huge loss on Sunday with Aidan Hutchinson going down for presumably the rest of the season. Now the big question is, will the Lions trade for somebody, or do they have guys on the roster already that can make this work? We're going to talk about that today. Hi, I'm Mike Payton from A to Z Sports Detroit, and we're here to talk about what the Lions have on the roster currently, and can they try to manufacture some sort of replacement for Aidan Hutchinson? Let's take a look. Well, first off, you got to just come out right and say it. Aidan Hutchinson has been the best defensive player in the NFL this season. He's been number one in just about everything that you can think of. Pressures, sacks, all the statistics that you could think of. Aidan Hutchinson was number one in all that stuff. Replacing him with one player, the Lions can't do that. They do not have that on the roster. But what they do have is a mix of guys that they could maybe manufacture some sort of replacement by using a committee. Now, what that means is the Lions will try to get, they're not going to get 10 pressures a game with one guy, but maybe they can get 6 pressures a game with like 3 or 4 guys. So you try to manufacture what you lost, you try to scheme around it, and I think the Lions might have what they need to do that. So for starters, let's take a look at what the Lions have on the 53-man roster. We'll start off Josh Pascal. He's been having a lot of success this year. He's gotten better every single week. This is a guy I think is going to be an immediate starter now that Hutchinson is gone. And if the Lions don't trade for anybody, this is their guy that they're going to have to rely on, they're going to lean on. And I think that he can hold up to that task. Obviously, he's not going to be Aidan Hutchinson good, but he's someone that can definitely get in there, get some pressure, get some sacks, do some good stuff. And then along with him, they have Levi Brown, who we've seen grow this year, grow over the summer. He finally turned into a player that, the Lions feel really good about, that they drafted him in the second round. He's somebody that is coming along as well. He can work on the inside, outside. They'll probably start putting him a little bit more outside. And he's another guy that's been getting a lot of pressures this season. So couple that with Pascal, and I think you have a pretty nice little situation there. And then you mix in some of the other guys like Makai Wingo, rookie Makai Wingo out of LSU, 6th-round draft pick. This guy is also getting better every single week. You start to notice more and more of what he's able to do. He's getting more pressure. He has a lot of pass rush juice. He's been mostly an inside guy, but I believe that the Lions can move him outside as well. I think he's one that can just kind of be everywhere because of his versatility. He's another guy that can definitely get you pressure, can definitely help out. And then you go to Isaac Ukwu, who was elevated last week for the first time in his NFL career, had a really great preseason, really good training camp, had a pretty good game against Dallas. He played 30 snaps. He came in when Hutchinson was gone. He was flexing in early in the game, but when Hutchinson went down, Ukwu played the rest of the game. I thought he played quite well, and if you go back and look at the film on that, you'll see that he was holding his own against NFL offensive linemen in this one. He only got 1 pressure. He didn't get a sack, but he did get a hurry. And I felt that he played pretty well. And he's somebody I think you're going to see a lot more of as the Lions move forward down in the season. I think he's somebody that is probably going to be signed to the 53-man roster once they move Aidan Hutchinson and Kyle Pico to the IR here relatively soon. There's some other guys that the Lions have. There's Mitchell Agude on the practice squad. He's somebody that the Lions really liked during the offseason. Couldn't really find a spot for him on the 53-man roster. He might be able to get that spot now. Al-Qadim Muhammad is somebody who the Lions just signed from Indianapolis. Really good run stopper. Could use a little help on the pass rush front, but he was a starter for the Colts, started for the Bears as well. He's somebody that you can definitely see as a guy that could be elevated soon. The Lions just signed Isaiah Thomas off the Cincinnati Bengals practice squad. He's somebody that I think with due time, then this is a 25-year-old kid. He's still relatively young, just got drafted in the 2022 NFL draft, showed a lot in the preseason this year and last. I think the Cleveland Browns would have loved to have kept him, just didn't have enough room for him. He winds up going over to Cincinnati. The Lions poached him off their practice squad. So now that he's been poached off the practice squad, he's immediately onto the Lions 53-man roster as of now. I think once Terrell Williams gets his hands on this guy, I think you'll definitely see somebody who could fit themselves into the rotation and could potentially get some pressure. He's a great run stopper. We've seen that. We've seen some pressure from him in the preseason. I think he had a pretty good preseason with the Browns. put down a sack, I think he had 5 pressures in 3 games. It's pretty decent. That's good stuff. So we'll see where that goes. There's a lot of guys that the Lions can kind of manufacture and put together. Trevor Nowaski's another one, linebacker. Got a sack on Dak Prescott on Sunday. He's another guy. I think when you meld all these guys together and you work them as a committee, plus you get safety blitzes and there's so many things that the Lions can do to try to manufacture what they've just lost with Aidan Hutchinson. Personally, I think that they should go out and make a trade, but they're not super in a hurry about that. Dan Campbell said on Monday that while they are looking, they're not in a hurry to go out and find somebody to replace Aidan Hutchinson just yet. We'll see what happens there. That could just be coach speak. Could be the Lions are looking around. There is a lot of thought out there that they are looking currently. We'll see what they wind up doing. But right now, I think you have to come away feeling a little bit optimistic about what the Lions have in terms of their youth on the defensive line and what they could do with some of these guys. I think there's a real shot that they could at least manufacture half or a little bit more of what Aidan Hutchinson did for them this season. And if that's the case, then this is a defense that's still going to be pretty good, still has a really good secondary, great linebacking core. I wouldn't freak out if I was a Lions fan right now.